All right, so again, the first thing we're looking at is we're looking for the y-intercept. We have the red dot. It's going through the origin. What else do we call an equation that goes through the origin?
Proportional.
Proportional. Very good. I like that. Anything that goes through the origin. All right, the next thing that we want to look at is we want to find the slope. And hopefully you guys remember the slope, we define that as rise over run, okay? Because that's the y-intercept. It's going through the origin. That's what it's asking for. You can put either. You can put this y-int or you can put 0, 0. Either one, okay? Now, the next thing is we got to do rise over run. So we need two really good points. So luckily, I've got another really good point up here. And this is where we're going to build our right triangle. And we're going to count our rise and count our run. So in this case, it goes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my rise in this case is 6. What's your question, sir?
Don't you have to go up first?
If you want to do it that way, it doesn't. Remember what I talked about in the notes, right? If you want to figure out the positive or negative, for me, is this going to have a positive slope?
Yeah.
So then I know that it's going to be positive in the end. Okay, it doesn't matter. I can do a triangle on this side. I can do a triangle on this side. I'm going to get the exact same answer, okay? Actually, that's the wrong triangle. Let me fix that. The triangle would be going up the y-axis and over, okay?
Yeah.
So it's the exact same triangle whether I'm going on the right or the left of the line, okay? So my rise is still 6. My run in this case is 2. And so this is going to simplify to 6 divided by 2 is just 3. So my slope in this case is 3, okay? Do you guys want me to do one more problem, or do you guys feel good about just using right triangles to find the slope?
So easy.
Not too bad? Again, this is going to be the quiz next week, okay? A lot of different pieces here, okay? All right, let's look at the next problem down here. We're going to look at number 5, okay? And hopefully you guys do feel this is easy. Now, you guys do need to be able to go in and plot points. And maybe it's been a while. I don't know how much you did it last year, but first thing I need to do, it says plot the point on a coordinate grid and draw a line through them. Find the slope of the line and estimate the y-intercept from the graph, okay? Now, in this case, they want me to plot 0, 0, so I'm doing that. And then they want me to plot 3, 3, so I'm going to go over 3 and up 3. And then from here, they want me to draw that line. So let me make my line a little bit smaller. Hopefully you guys can see this. So now I have my line going through here, okay? Is that a pretty good line? Now, I need to go in and find my y-intercept, but I lucked out. One of the points they gave me to plot is actually my y-intercept.
0.
So 0, right? So I'm going to put, I like putting in as ordered pairs, but if you guys want to do that, y-int to stand for the intercept, and then tell me it equals 0, you can do that too, okay? Now, let's talk about the slope on this. We've got to do the rise and the run. One thing I want to do is I kind of drew my line a little thick on the graph up here. So I'm going to kind of erase it and then put the points back so we can kind of see the points a little bit better. So again, we said we were graphing 0, 0 and we graphed 0, 3. Now, if I'm going in here and I'm trying to draw my triangle, then we're looking at, I'm going up. I'm going to go up 3 and over. So here's my right triangle. So it looks like my rise in this case is equal to 3, and my run is also equal to 3. So my slope is just 1. Okay? Was the line I drew before, was that a positive slope or negative slope? Positive. So again, I know my slope is 1. Okay? Any questions on the front page? Hopefully it's pretty straightforward. All right, so on the back, this one, we are going to go through all of this. Okay, this one's a pretty big deal. Okay, so in this problem, they're saying for questions 7 through 10, they want you to use all of this, A all the way through L, and they want you to kind of plug in for 7, 8, 9, and 10, which ones they meet, okay, or which ones match. So the very first question says, the line of this relationship has a positive slope. So let's look at the graphs. A, B, C, D, and E. Which ones of those have a positive slope?
B, E.
All right. So does everybody see B and E? Okay. So here's this one positive slope, and this one's going up to a positive slope. Okay. Now, the next one is saying, I've done the graph, so there's taken care of. So now I need to go and I need to look at all of these equations, okay? So one thing you guys need to remember is you guys need to remember the equation y equals mx plus b, okay? What does the m stand for? Slope, okay? What does the b stand for? Okay, so y-intercept force, okay? So now when we look at this, if I look at f, the equation is y equals 4 plus, and I hate this, plus minus 2x, okay? If we wanted to rewrite these equations and put them into y equals mx plus b, are you guys okay with me saying y equals negative 2x plus 4? Okay, so what's my slope in this case? So my slope is negative 2, and so I know it's not positive, but guess what? Question 8 says the line for this relationship has a slope of negative 2. So right now I know I need to put f on this line, okay? Now when I look at g, if I look at g, this was f. So when I look at g, the equation is y equals 1.5. If y always equals 1.5, what kind of slope do I have? Okay. How about this? What if I tried to match it up to y equals mx plus 1.5? Does this help a little bit? What's my slope for this equation? Do I have a slope? Where's it gone? Are you sure I don't have a slope, or is my slope a value? What's the value of my slope? No. What does the 1.5 stand for? The y-intercept. What is my slope then if it's missing? It's just 0, right? If I times 0 times x, then I know my slope is 0. Well, it looks like question 9 says this line has a slope of 0. So it looks like I can put g in this spot, okay? Now, let's look at, I'm running out of room, so let me erase some of this. Let's look at h. Are you guys okay with me rewriting h to match y equals mx plus b as y equals 3x minus 5? Are you guys okay with that? Okay. What's my slope? 3, okay? So is that a positive slope or negative? Positive. So guess what? I've got to throw h up here, okay? Now let's look at the very last one, okay? I have x equals negative 3. What kind of line is x equals negative 3? Undefined. So what kind is that? Vertical line. If here's my graph and x is always negative 3, and I'm plotting all those points, then I know it's going to be a vertical line, which is undefined, and that means I'm going to actually put it on number 10. They're saying, hey, what's all the ones that are undefined? So there's I, okay? So we've taken care of all the equations, okay? Now let's look at the tables, and we'll see what we can do on those. So the very first table, I don't see anything out of the ordinary with the table. Everything looks pretty straightforward. So we need to remember y equals, we need to remember m, our slope, equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You guys okay? Okay. So now when we look at this, remember, with a table, we can choose any points we want. The closer they're together, the less I might have to reduce, okay? So when we look at J, and I want to do my y2 minus y1, I'm just going to take 7 minus 5, and I'm going to divide that by negative 3 minus a negative 2. So let's see what kind of slope we get. 7 minus 5 gives me a 2. A negative 3 minus a negative 2 is really adding a 2, which really gives me a negative 1. So it looks like my slope in this case is just going to be negative 2. So they wanted a negative 2 slope in 8, so I know I'm going to put J here, okay? Now, what do you guys notice about table K? Is there anything special or it stands out about table K? So you guys see all x is 4. So if that's the case, my equation really is x equals 4. What kind of line do I have for x equals 4? Undefined, right? Here's my graph again. 1, 2, 3, 4. All my numbers are 4, so I've got a vertical line, so I know that's undefined. So if it's undefined, I'm going to put that one on line 10. So K goes here, okay? Man, this is going to make a great quiz. You guys like this for a quiz? This is awesome.
Yes.
All All right, what do you guys notice about table L? What's special about it? All right, so if y equals 2, what kind of line do I have?
0.
So it means my slope is 0. So I guess I will put L where it says number 8. The slope has, I'm not going to put it there. The slope, it says the line has a slope of 0, which is G. So number 9 actually is where I'm going to put it. So L here. But is that also a positive slope? No. Slope is 0. So I got no other place to put that one, right? Okay. Now, we've answered all the questions for the equations and for the tables, but we need to go back to the graphs and see if they match any of the other ones, right? So for number 8, the line of this relationship has a slope of -2. Which graphs A, B, C, D, and E have a negative slope? So A has a negative slope. Any others? No, right? So if you go in here and you try to do your slope and you do your triangle, it looks like my rise is 2, my run is 1. Okay? So my slope in this case, and it's a negative line, my slope for this one is definitely -2. Okay? So I'm going to be able to put A for question 8. It does have a slope of -2. Now, number 9 is asking me, again, which line has a slope of 0? So out of the graphs, A, B, C, D, and E, which one has a slope of 0? Anything with that horizontal line, right? The horizontal line has a slope of D. If I put a marble on it, it's not going to roll anywhere, right? So there's my D. And then number 10 says which one's undefined. So which graph is undefined? Okay, so I know C is, so we'll put C down there, okay? All right, so again, pretty straightforward on those, okay? You just have to work through the graphs and the different things. Evangel, you're good? You got them under control, right? You're in charge of that table. All right, problem 11, 12, and 13. So in this, it's kind of the same situation, guys. You guys need to remember, anytime you see equations, keep in mind y equals mx plus b, okay? So in this problem, you might need to go in and rewrite the problem. So for number 11, are you guys okay with me saying y equals 3x plus 10? Okay, so intercept is 10, slope is 3. For number 12, I just have y equals -3x. And are you guys okay with me saying plus 0 for my y-intercept? Okay, so my intercept is 0. My slope is -3. Now, you will get it wrong. This is my big tip for you, because I see this all the time, is on the quiz for slope, if you guys put -3x, I'm going to count it wrong, okay? The slope is just the coefficient. It is not the variable x, okay? So just that coefficient. Okay? And then number 13 is probably one of the harder ones, and it's actually, you have more of those to practice on in the Slopapalooza packet. That's very exciting. So x plus 2y. If I name it fun, it's fun, right? Okay, all right. So x plus 2y equals 4. Is this in y equals mx plus b? No, right? So we have to put it in that form. And the way to do it is I'm going to have to subtract the x, subtract the x. Do what now? You did 3 lines. So now I have 2y equals -x plus 4. My last step is divide through by a 2. So here's the piece, my tip for you guys. Here's my tip for you guys, okay? When you guys are simplifying these, do not, I guess I should say never, but your best bet is to not turn things into decimals, okay? And I'm going to show you why, okay? So, are you guys okay? Once I divide through here, I'm going to get y equals -1/2 x plus 2, okay? And I know a lot of you guys are really quick and you're saying, hey, 0.5. But you don't want to do that because the equation as a fraction is going to help you graph it a lot easier, okay? So, you guys good back there? Okay. So, your graph, when I have an equation like this, if you want to graph this really quickly, we want to talk about why is it important to keep the equation like this, okay? Now, what's my y-intercept on this equation? Just 2, right? So I can quickly go to a graph, and I can say, hey, this is 1, 2, and I can plot this point, okay? What's my slope for this equation? Negative 1/2. So here's the deal. The reason you want to keep this negative 1/2 as a fraction is I know that the top is my rise and my denominator is my run, okay? So if I start at the point, I can take this negative sign and I can put it in the numerator. And so this is really a negative 1 rise and then a positive 2 run, okay? So I can go down 1 and then over 2 and put my point here. I can go down 1 over 2 and put my point here. Down 1 over 2 and put my point here. Now, once I've done that, I can switch it up and I can switch it to a positive 1 rise and a negative 2 run. And now you go back to your original point and just start applying the slope again. So I can go up 1, back 2, up 1, back 2, up 1, back 2. Now do I have a nice set of points that I can draw this line? So now all I need to do is just take it and draw this line out, okay? And you're able to go in and take these equations and draw them really quickly, okay? So do yourself a favor, keep the slope as a fraction so that you can see your rise over run, and simplify it down like you need to, okay? All right, the next page that we have, we're just looking at tables, okay? And as I kind of told you on tables, so we're looking at worksheet number 3. So everybody switch to worksheet number 3, okay? Yeah, if you need another copy, I should have other copies on the teacher table up here, okay? Okay. So I'm going to use problem number 4. That'll be the one we can kind of look at together. But again, this is very similar to being able to use that formula, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, okay? So, but the nice thing is I can kind of take my time when I do these, okay? So, here's my tip for you. You can choose the points that are closest together so you don't have to simplify it as much. If you pick 2 points that are farther apart, you're going to get a fraction that more than likely you're going to have to simplify, okay? So when we look at this, I'm going to choose these first 2 points up here, okay? Negative 3, 1, negative 2, negative 4. And just like the equation, it doesn't matter which way I subtract, but once I start that path, I've got to commit to it, and I've got to keep doing it, okay? So I'm going to start off with negative 4 minus 1. So negative 4 minus a negative 1 divided by, and now again, I've got to use the 2 points on the other side. I've committed to subtracting in this direction, so I've got to make sure I do this. So I'm going to have a negative 2 minus a negative 3. So now my fraction, this is going to become negative 4 plus 1, which is just negative 3. And down here, I'm going to have negative 2 plus 3. So I really have a positive 1. So my slope in this case is just negative 3. Now, to show you guys what I mean about choosing points far away, okay, we're going to switch it up and we're going to choose the top point and the bottom one, okay? So now I'm going to use this one right here, which is the negative 3, negative 1, and we're going to use 2, negative 16, okay? So again, I'm going to subtract going in this direction, so I have negative 16 minus a negative 1 is going to give me what? Negative 15 in my numerator. My denominator becomes 2 minus a negative 3, which is just 2 plus 3, which gives me 5. So what is negative 15 divided by 5? Just negative 3. I'll get the exact same answer, but I do have to do some simplifying on it, okay? And then all these other problems are exactly the same, okay? They're just the table you're going through and just subtracting. Just make sure you do them in the same order on both sides. Your y values are always in the numerator, x values in the denominator, okay? Easy, hard? Easy, right? I'm expecting hundreds on the quiz next week is what I'm hoping, okay? Problems 9 and 10, exact same thing. Problem 11, I feel like I just kind of did this. You would go in, you're going to do your right triangles to get your slope. So number 11, my rise is 1, 2, 3, 4, and my run is 1, so my slope is just equal to 4, okay? So again, just write, whenever you see a graph to find slopes, you just got to do the right triangle, okay? Yes, sir.
So on this, on number 12, not this.
Okay, so number 12 right here, okay?
Why is there a dot in the middle?
They're just giving you more points to choose from, and what they really want you to see is the same thing. You can make a big right triangle, or you can make a smaller right triangle, but the slope is still going to be the same once you simplify it. So the smaller triangle is 1, 2, 3, so 3 over 1. The larger triangle is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but it's over 2, and it still simplifies to 3. So they have the exact same slope, and that's the whole piece between similar right triangles. You'll have the exact same answer, okay? All right, problem number 15. Do I need to teach you guys how to plot points? Are you guys good?
Yeah, we're
X and Y. So if I look at F and I have a -3, remember, you have to run down the x-axis to -3, and then you rise up to 0, which in this case I'm not going anywhere. So my point is just right here at -3, and they want you to label that point F, okay? Easy? Okay. All right, that was our last page.